Hi, so it's June already, and this is our QCC June webinar. So you're probably used to the format now. You saw last month's. This is a short coaching conversation around an important topic that we all need to work on as coaches. This is a really important topic because it's around challenging conversations. And while it might be something that some of us move away from, in coaching, it's something we need to move towards. So again, you'll see the content online that sets us up for having challenging conversations. If you've done our PSG course, you'll know that we use a relationship challenge matrix that we talk about a lot. And this comes into play to a degree in what we're talking about today. So it falls back on last month's owning your brand. And we talked about clients and setting yourself up so you attract clients, that you can be discovered by clients technology-wise, that you have the right knowledge. But have you got the right setup within you, the power within you to bring the challenge necessary for your client to move forward? And this is where challenging conversations come in. So we get some research done every year on why clients choose coaches for coaching. And it's really important for us to see what are the agendas, what are the topics. But we started collecting data on what are the qualities clients are looking for in coaches. And interestingly, what's gone up year after year is clients are looking for a coach that can handle a space. So the client can manage their pinch points, their resistance, their pushback points, their moving out of their comfort zone in a way that they can stay there long enough to move forward. So when we took that on board and we looked at why are clients choosing coaches, and where is the coaching working best, we realized there was a correlation between excellent quality coaching results from coaches that can challenge their client and the ones that are a bit more, you know the term we use in PSG, lovely lazy, are losing their clients and having to renew them more frequently. They're dropping off before the end of their 4 sessions. They're not passing on the word of mouth about that coach. So when we start putting these side by side, what we're saying is that if you are offering a service to your clients where you're not challenging them around their agenda, around their potential, around what actualizes, around their comfort points, then your client will play along in the coaching relationship, but the chances are they'll feel it was a bit lovely and it was a bit lazy. So when we tracked back through the data, what we noticed is that when clients say their coach was lovely, when they say they're really supportive, they felt comforted, they felt cared for, they felt like they really enjoyed it, if that's not balanced up with they were challenged, they were questioned, they were tested, they were held to account, then what you end up is a weak version of coaching. So as we develop coaches at PSG, we've been really changing up the content of our own diploma to make sure that all the candidates and attendees in our diploma are building up the strength, the coach's strength at the apex of the model that we do on our diploma. If you remember, it's an inverted triangle. At the apex of strength, the strongest point of that model is you as a coach. So you are building out a strength that you can handle these challenges to bring to your client. The challenge is this though, is that level of challenge showing up in your brand? Are you comfortable enough to say to your clients, as part of the coaching relationship, there will be challenge. There'll be challenging conversations, there'll be challenging thinking, there'll be challenging mindset. Or are you hiding that bit behind what you offer in your brand because you want to be lovely and you want to be liked and you want to have a friendly approach with your client? So the clients that have been really moving us forward in agenda, looking for those bigger, juicier, more meaningful agendas, are definitely looking for coaches that can handle them, that can handle the truth, that can handle the level of challenge by bringing the level of skill to challenge them in their agenda. They know what they're looking for, they've been coached before, they've been coached online, they've been doing self-coaching books, and they're looking for a human who will be in a coactive relationship that will sit with them when they are at their pinch point of moving forward or staying where they are. So in that challenging conversation, there's a new version of managing those conversations called radical candor. Don't know if you've heard about it. There's a book about it. It's really quite good. And again, it has another matrix in there, which we really like. But I wanted to share some of the key pieces about radical candor. One of my clients actually a couple of years ago brought that term to me, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And what had happened was she was really stuck in a performance review around being told how assertive she was and how aggressive she was and how she kept pushing back too much in her team. And she was really annoyed that in her version of being direct, she was being told she was being aggressive or abrasive. And when we looked at the data and did the reality check and the level of challenge, what we found is that in fairness to her and all the evidence that came out, what she was actually pushing back on was very fair. It was a request for someone to do the job that they were being paid to do. But because it was landing with someone that couldn't handle the challenge, the someone that couldn't handle the challenge, their employee, felt that it was mean and that it was directed at them and that was aggressive and that it was abrasive, and that attached to my client's brand and went into her performance review. So this is a very, I think, serious muscle that we have to be able to build as coaches, to be able to understand what a challenge is and stand up with that strength in our coaching so we can challenge our clients, to understand how the message is landing with and for our clients when they are bringing the same level of challenge out to their employees or their family members or to their life. So what radical candor tells us is, if the recipient of the challenge hasn't developed the right amount of muscle around this, they will feel you're being mean. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been around long enough to know and experience for myself that if someone feels the message is mean, often what they'll do is they'll go into defensive mode. And what a beautiful human behavior around that is that they blame you for bringing them the message. Even though the message is fair and it's true and it's relevant and it's on point, you are the one to blame for bringing them that message. You're the mean one. You're the one they're going to talk about. You're the brand that's going to be damaged because they weren't ready to hear it. So radical candor is showing up now in cultures across the globe from an organizational point of view as a skill to build. And what we're asking is 2 things. 1, as a coach, make sure that you have within you the strength to challenge your client and you move away from this lovely lazy coaching, because you're going to lose a client base if you do that. Move towards radical candor, but with the extra understanding of, can my client understand and take this on board without it being mean? So how do I test how they respond to feedback, constructive feedback? One of the tests that really we have to be paying attention to is, what generation do they fall into? Because we now know, and there's lots of words around this and names around this, but the millennials find it harder to accept challenge than the baby boomers and the Generation X. So the Generation Y, the millennials, don't really take criticism too well. They haven't been built to handle that face-on feedback. Instead, what they often do is blame the person giving them the feedback. Not always, but it's there. So what we have in our all new clients that are coming on board, our workplaces where millennials are moving up to management, leadership and owning, we have a muscle that's not very strong for handling direct challenge, and yet they're the ones that really need the direct challenge in order to evolve and grow faster. So we as coaches, have to start by being noticing in ourselves how we are when we set about to challenge. Do we avoid it? Do we move into it? How do we dance with it, move with it? Can we hold a space for our clients? And secondly, are we observing all the signals of our clients that tell us whether they can handle this level of challenge or not? And how do we set them up so they don't feel that was mean or that was abrasive or that was aggressive? So if you have, which I know I have, a direct approach, an approach that directs the person to the truth quite quickly, that's my style, then I have to always be conscious about the clients I choose and make sure that in the chemistry check, right before we agree to work together, that in that chemistry, my client can handle a direct approach and a level of challenge that their agenda requires. So this really comes down to you owning your brand, like we talked about last month. Does your brand handle challenging conversations? Because if it doesn't right now, it needs to build into a skill set the ability to do that. And in that skill set, it's not like throwing challenge at people because you can. It's understanding the type of client you have to be able to handle that challenge. Meaningful debate, challenge, radical candor, all these words sit with a behavior that's comfortable with being able to push and move and dance with your client so they can test their thinking and move forward. If not, your client will go round and roundabouts. They'll just take you on a lovely, lazy relationship, and you will not get repeat custom, you'll not get word of mouth, and all you'll be doing is challenging yourself in terms of effort to keep and build client bases. So if you haven't looked at the book or heard about the book, Radical Candor it's called, if you don't need to go in and read the book, just consider who you're speaking with, consider how they land with challenge. And that doesn't mean that just because they feel it's mean and defensive that you don't deliver that language, by the way, or don't deliver the challenge with it. Maybe that's the first point where someone actually felt real challenge. And there is an important piece in coaching where we have to reveal the client to themselves and they have an opportunity to test their thinking and grow. So without the challenge, there isn't that growth. So I'm going to wrap up with just considering the self-awareness piece that we always talk about in QCC. And evaluate yourself by looking at the types of clients you've been attracting over the last 3, 6, 12 months. Maybe consider, why do you think they chose me? Because if they chose you because you're lovely, they chose you because they like you, they chose you because you live locally or you're easy to access, I'd like you to think again about how you're branding yourself. And I'd like you to think about, do I really bring enough challenge for my client to be actualized and grow the skills they need in the workplace or in their personal life in order to be truly fulfilled and living in this new normal where challenge is a constant. We're going to be working on this in our online broadcast. We're going to be working on this in our live events. And we're going to keep working on this, building this muscle so we can handle the agendas that our clients need as we go through the next few months. So thank you for listening again. I look forward to seeing you, if not online, then in person in one of our groups in our QCC Facebook. If you're one of our members, or if not in our LinkedIn group online, feel free to put your comments or content in there. Be happy to see you there too. So I'll see you next month.